Welcome to the Bourbon Friday Show. I'm Nick Niehaus. I'm the host for the evening. Christian Johnson is out supporting his sister at her art show over at Tech Artista. So if you're looking for something to do, please join them this evening. That's going to be going from, I believe, 6 to 11 o'clock tonight. So it's a great opportunity to check out some cool art. And then I have my guest today, Chisom Uche with SixThirty, and he's going to be helping us understand how to get that money for your startup. So how to get funded, especially in the earlier stages. So we'll get to that in a second. Obviously, you can see we are here on the 5th floor. This is our first week recording the Bourbon Friday Show from where Bourbon Friday actually happens, here at the bar at T-Rex. So looks like we got a decent crowd forming. We're excited to see some extra people here this week. So if you are looking to join us in the future at Bourbon Friday, please get in touch with me. You can contact us through the EQSTL page or the Connect Marketing page, and we can get you on the guest list. So there is a guest list to get in. It's a little bit of an exclusive event, and we'd love to see you there. So we're drinking some bourbon today. We got some Jim Beam Devil's Cut. It's pretty good. I already took a sip and sampled it. And I'd like to go ahead and get into our interview with Chisom here. So
sounds good.
First of all, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's just start out by having you tell us a little bit about yourself. So you're a fellow alumnus of WashU. So I was excited to talk to somebody who got there just after I left, it sounds right?
2014.
2014. Yeah. Okay. So I was out of there in 2010. Okay. So I was graduating as you were coming in, it sounds like.
Hey,
so
you didn't miss too much. I don't think so.
Was it a lot of fun after 2010?
I think things might have died down a little bit. Bears End moved in. A lot of late night eating happened.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
I think things got a little more tame, but
understandable. I mean, I wasn't there anymore, so the party left, right?
Still a good time. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's get into this conversation. So start off by just telling us, after you graduated, how did you get into SixThirty? Kind of what was the path to that?
For sure. Yeah. So after graduating, I went to a fellowship called Venture for America.
Okay.
Similar to Teach for America's model, except going education, you go in entrepreneurship. So the idea on Venture for America is most college graduates, recent college grads, end up going to a few select places in the country, but also a few select positions. So either going to the New Yorks, the Bostons, Los Angeles, the Silicon Valley, to do consulting, grad school, banking, whatever the case. Those major kind of
the kind of typical professional level careers. Sure.
Right. However, what you'll find is most of the need for talent is actually in these kind of burgeoning startup ecosystems around the country. So the St. Louis is a perfect example. The Detroits, the Cleveland's, the Cincinnati's, the Pittsburghs, all those locations are in need of that great college graduate talent, but don't have a very effective way to go access that talent and attract that talent. So Venture America is a way for these cities and these ecosystems to kind of get that talent to those cities, working for those startups to help build that ecosystem and build those communities through entrepreneurship, through working for startups.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I wish I had known about that. That sounds like it was probably a lot of fun. I mean, how long were you with them?
So it's a 2-year fellowship. So
2 years. Okay.
I just started in 2014, wrapped up in 2016, and luckily enough, I got to come back to St. Louis to do my fellowship. So my fellowship, I was placed at a company called Top Ops.
Oh, okay.
Across the street.
Familiar with them, yeah.
Yep. Started off as a marketing specialist, and as over my 2 years plus, I think 2.5 years, I kind of got into digital marketing, and then kind of started hung my hat on digital marketing before making the transition over to VC.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah. So how did you decide to make that transition from marketing into venture capital?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I always knew that my interests aligned more with seeing multiple ideas and helping kind of grow multiple ideas versus being focused on one idea day after day.
Okay.
And venture capital is such an exciting field because I get to see and meet entrepreneurs from all over the world working on all these different ideas and solutions to many problems. And with SixThirty, focusing on financial services. So whether it be lending, whether it be payments, whether it be chat bots for banks or insurance, like things that you don't really view as sexy or important.
Okay.
You'd be amazed by how lack of technology or being technology driven, it changes your experience with all these different segments.
Yeah. So it must be pretty interesting to kind of have your hands in a bunch of different companies now, right? So how many companies are you kind of involved with at any given time?
Yeah, I mean, so we look at maybe a couple hundred ideas a year.
Wow.
Or not even a year. I would say maybe 400 or 500 ideas a year.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of businesses.
It's hard to keep track of from all different stages of their company life cycle, right?
Okay.
And ultimately, we make 4 to to 6 investments per cycle. We do it twice a year, so 8 to 12 investments a year. So
so we're talking what, 1 in 50 of the companies you look at or so? Is that accurate?
Yeah, that'd be a fair breakdown.
Wow,
so it's a pretty competitive process, and we think we end up finding some of the best and the most promising, which is what the end of the day the goal is, to help the most promising ideas move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is your role kind of to screen through the companies and kind of figure out what the best fit for 630 is?
Yeah. So I do a lot of kind of that first level diligence. So a lot of the meetings, and seeing new ideas, understanding the concepts, understanding the businesses behind them, and then kind of moving them up through the process, the investment process that we have. Whether that's traveling to a conference, seeing entrepreneurs where they are, or doing a ton of phone calls or meetings here at T-Rex. However I can meet them, I look forward to meeting fintech ideas and fintech founders.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's the most interesting or creative way you've discovered a company?
That's a great question. I try to respond to every email.
Okay.
I really do. So if you email hello@630 or email my personal email address, like I really try my best. I think I get to get back to everybody. I think those cold emails are the most interesting ways I find interesting ideas.
So you get a fair amount of companies that
I would say so.
Kind of pop up in your inbox.
Yeah, I would say so. And you never know who you're gonna end up talking to, but people will surprise you.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. So have you had any like just crazy outside the box sort of startups that you've heard of, or are those secrets we can't find out about the stuff you're investing in?
No, that we've invested in, we have a ton of cool ones. No, I like them all, I would say.
Sure. I guess we don't want to play favorites, don't want to offend anybody, right?
We like them all. I do like that. So there's one company based out of Virginia called Painless 1099.
Okay.
I like quite a bit. They do auto tax savings for independent contractors, 1099 employers. I like that a lot because I think the 1099 economy is going to keep growing. It's a huge market already.
Oh yeah.
It's a great way for America, the world, to kind of break away from the traditional work model that we have established and get into they're being their own bosses. So people think it's great, but it's a lot of challenges financially and actually sustainably managing that lifestyle. So this is just one way of doing that. Taxes kind of suck when you're a 1099er. It's not a very predictable model. You don't get a W-2 like you do if you're employed by somebody. So
a lot of people don't realize they owe a bunch of taxes at the end of the year.
There's nothing worse if you drive Uber or you do Airbnb. There's nothing worse than realizing at tax time you owe a lot of money.
Yeah,
you're not outside the part when you're spending it. So stuff like that will get you. And 1099 helps prevent that by having an account where you can make your income like you normally would. That money is set aside for you. So when tax season comes, that money already exists, and you can just pay your tax bill off and keep doing what you're doing. Right. And they also offer benefits, same with insurance, life, car, all that stuff. Right. So it's a full package deal.
Give you everything that you're lacking by being 1099.
Yeah, it's actually making 1099er feel like they work for a big company again. So
wow, okay.
I think it's one of the great ideas.
I really like that. There's a couple jobs I've had where that would have been nice to have available at the time.
Unfortunately, a lot of people have felt that pain without knowing the solution exists.
For sure.
So check it out if you're interested.
Cool. Okay. Well, so I think people that were watching this might be thinking, all right, this guy's got access to money. I need some money for my startup. Like, how do I get that money, right?
Yeah.
So what would you, first of all, tell us about where does 630 come into the picture? What part of that growth process do you guys specialize in?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess one quick trivia fact: 630 actually, the name comes from the arch itself. So 630 is the height and width of the arch and feet. So
cool.
That's a good. If you ever had a party, and whip out a nice trivia fact, you can go ahead and throw that one out there. But 630, we invest in what we call the late seed stage, or a later stage. So usually right before they get to that Series A, or maybe even during that Series A, depending on where they're from, simply where you find that sweet spot. So by that point, they have a working product, got a couple customers, some recurring revenues in play. And now they're looking to move on to that next stage and become really deep into that go-to-market strategy they've developed and get more customers faster and grow that revenue faster.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay. So if a company wants to talk to you guys, should they have raised money previously, or can they come to you as their first source of financing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's mandatory, not at all. Okay. I mean, it's more about the stage of the company, not really their financing histories. If you're at that place where you've bootstrapped your way to customers and a working product and you built it all, and you're looking for a way to you're selling B2B and you're looking for other businesses to sell to and work with, I think 630 is a legitimate option to look at for you.
Cool. Okay. And so you guys specialize in financial companies, right?
Fintech companies. Yeah.
Anything else that you guys would look at, or is it specifically just fintech?
So 630 is specifically fintech. We do have another fund called 630 Cyber. They do cybersecurity companies. This is another great budding industry itself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The more things become digitized.
Everybody getting hacked nowadays, right? Like,
everyone wants to talk about the autonomous car. What happens if your autonomous car gets hacked?
Yeah. Man.
That sounds like
that's a nightmare scenario.
It's a doomsday scenario, right? So cybersecurity is going to be, I think, one of the most important industries moving forward in the technological ecosystem. So
cool.
That fund exists as well. Similar model, similar stage.
So if somebody's in that type of business, do they still contact you, or is there someone else they should get in touch with?
You can visit 630cyber.com.
Okay.
Definitely have another email address you can access there, or you can talk to me too. I'm happy to make the introduction and tell you more information about 630 Cyber.
Awesome. All right. Well, I just got the sign that we're about 10 minutes in, so we want to transition to more of a conversation, debate, panel conversation that we normally do. So the thing I wanted to kind of discuss with you, maybe debate a little bit, is kind of where or why a company needs funding, right? So I guess I'll just start by asking you, obviously you guys are investing and you're looking for companies that are going to have high growth potential and they're going to have a good rate of return, right?
Right.
Do you feel like every company, every startup should at some point seek funding, or are there guidelines that you think somebody should follow to kind of decide when they need money or why they need money?
Absolutely not. Right.
Okay.
I think there's this impression that venture capitalists always just want to steal a piece of your business.
Which I'm not saying that.
Right. I mean, I think it's like kind of like it's just a mindset and a stereotype, but it's not true.
Okay.
I think venture capitalists know the ideas they want to go after and will pursue those ideas to get investment and help those companies grow.
Okay.
So businesses that should, I think a better example is businesses that should not come for venture capital, right?
Yeah.
If you are a small, medium business, happy of just making a profit every month, every day, and is living off that profit, fine. Not a venture capital idea, right?
Okay.
If you think you can get your idea to a place where you're making good revenue without having take on or give away equity, great. Not a venture capital idea, right?
Okay.
You can go get a bank loan for that. You can bootstrap it yourself. You can go to Kickstarter, whatever the case may be.
Sure.
Venture capital is really for companies that are looking to be scalable, high growth companies.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be a tech company. It could be, Allbirds, the shoe company out of San Francisco. They are a venture-backed company. They make sneakers out of wool. So their mission is to be a high-growth shoe company, right?
Tech thing going on,
right?
Sure.
Doesn't have to be a tech company. I think this is attractive now because tech is a cheaper company to start because you don't want to overhead to build a product through tech. But
making shoes is not a cheap process to start.
Making shoes has a few hurdles in the supply chain there, right?
A little bit of a factory and whatnot for that.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So it's a mindset more so than a business idea, right?
Okay.
If you don't want to have a business that is focused on becoming the next hundreds of millions, not $1 billion idea, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not a venture capital backed company or venture capital attractive company.
Okay. So on my side of things, we started Connect Marketing about 4.5 years ago. And I think when we started, we probably weren't the kind of company that would ever even need venture capital, kind of localized marketing business, not high growth. And we've kind of transitioned into something that I think is much more potentially high growth at this point.
Yeah.
So, we're not seeking venture.
Is my cost to acquire a customer going down or up?
Okay.
It's my ability to gain more revenue. Like, how am I going to go after and gain more revenue? Is this going to be a strategy getting more customers? Can I utilize current customer base to generate more revenue? Do I build more products? All those type of things matter. So it's a thing about from a grand scheme going after venture capital, and you want to see, is my business ready for that kind of transition? It's, can I show my revenue is going to go up while my costs are going down?
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. So those are the two kind of key metrics to watch.
Because
in any business, right?
In any business, right?
And any cost savings,
Right. So no different if you were running a store or a shop just for a profit, right?
Sure.
You want your costs, you want your revenue to go up, you want your costs to go down.
Makes sense.
But I think in VC, you got to be able to show that because that's how ultimately you show that value, right?
Okay.
And also in VC, you got to be able to say to yourself, am I willing to, am I cool with giving up equity in my company and not being the sole owner or me and my co-partners being co-owners of the company?
Sure.
Because
and that's a big part of this, right? Is giving up equity. And so what does that look like? So somebody gives up a certain chunk, and obviously I guess that's negotiated based on the deal. What kind of involvement does 630 then have in those companies? Like, are you giving up a lot of control over your business, or what does that look like?
So every VC is different, right? Some VCs are known to be more hands-on. Some are being known to be a little more hands-off and just trusting. Some VCs are there because their name brand will get you to that next step themselves. It depends on where you're looking for. That's why I always think as a founder, entrepreneur, don't just go look for money, go look for the right money.
Gotcha.
And a good VC won't work with you unless they can be valuable to you, right? 630. So 630, we'll see a lot of great ideas, and I've seen some ideas in fintech that I would love to invest in, but we just can't help them, and so we're not going to invest in them, right? We don't want to ever be sitting on someone's cap table and not be a value add, right?
Interesting.
And I think that's how the most good VCs operate and should operate. And most founders should be able to identify, and you go talk to a VC, money aside, what else do you want and what else can you gain from that, having that venture capital firm or venture capitalists, angel be in your cap table.
Yeah, and it sounds like that's the part that your decision really comes down to is which VC is going to provide you with something outside. I mean, the money's the same everywhere, right? In terms of
money's always
money,
green,
right?
money. Oh, not always, but money in America is always green, right?
Sure.
Well, what else is there on the table?
Okay, so it's really about that. So it sounds like it's almost kind of like dating, right? You're going out and you're trying to find like the VC that's the right match, but they gotta like you too, right?
You both gotta swipe right at some point. Yeah.
All right, I like it.
I would say that. So it's similar to dating.
Cool. All right. So one other question about this, and I know I'm basically just still interviewing you, but this is very helpful for me as well, right?
Sure.
So I'm getting a lot out of it. So if you're looking for funding, right? I think a lot of startup founders kind of see the funding in and of itself as kind of, an accomplishment, like, oh, I got money and now it's in the bank, and then spend it really poorly, and just kind of blow through a bunch and try random stuff that doesn't have a lot of strategy behind it. So if you're going to find funding, should you have a clear idea of where you're going to spend that money and how you're going to use it? Or is that something that like 630 would really help guide you through?
No, you definitely should have a roadmap ahead of you. I think, again, we'll ask for it, and a lot of good VCs will ask for it. I don't know a single VC is not going to ask you, all right, where is this money going to go, right? I mean, and not just saying in general, like, oh, we're going to help it grow the business. Like, no, what, you're going to build more tech? You're going to hire more people? Are you going to, open a location? Why are you going to open that new location? I think the diligence process, people often sleep on. It's a pretty intense process for most VCs. I mean, think about if you're an angel investor and you get telling someone, I'm going to give you $100,000 of my personal money that I've worked hard for.
You better have a plan for it.
It's a donation, right? So you better have a good plan and have that prepared mentally to yourself, and have that built on a roadmap for how you're going to get there.
All right, so being as specific about where that money's going, that helps with the process.
And obviously, I mean, it sounds super rigid, but I mean, people understand that plans change, things happen, but it's the mindset and it's the understanding that you've gone through that process yourself, and kind of try to vet out and map out where you're going. I think selling that vision, selling that roadmap is key, and having them along with you in that journey. If things change, at least they know you have your head in the right place. You're thinking about it strategically, not just trying things.
All right. And one last question. I think we got the signal. We're getting close to wrap up time here. But one more question about the VC process. So do you ever, so somebody applies and you're looking at the startup. Do you do a lot of like kind of background checks on the people that you're looking at? Like how much of that is researched as you're looking at a company? Yeah.
So I think if you're in a venture capital into tech, you've probably seen like the Uber controversies and the controversy in Silicon Valley. It's like the people who are leading these companies. I think it's key for where we invest. We invest early stage. So, a lot of it's not about the revenue numbers. A lot of it's not about, the projections of financing. A lot of it's about the idea, the market, and the team. Right. So that is, I'm not saying go get your fingerprinted and run a background check on you, but knowing where you came from, knowing people around you, knowing your background in the industry, knowing your background with your customers, your relationship with your customers, that's all stuff we'll look into. Because it is important.
So it sounds like somebody that's, maybe a year or two away from looking for money should maybe start networking with the right people in the industry, in the VC community to kind of, develop a relationship. Do you think that helps when they do come looking for the money?
That's a great point too. I think a lot of folks think of VC as a quick thing. Like you find a good VC and all of a sudden they give you money, but a lot of it's relationship building, right? These people are going to be with you hopefully for the long call. So you want to make sure you know that the VCs you're with, and VCs want to make sure they know the founders they're working with, so they can trust these people are going to be people that can get the job done and do it in the right way. So think about if you're going after money, think about it as relationship building. Think about getting to know your VCs first, getting to know your founders first, and developing that relationship over time.
Yeah. And I think networking in general is a skill most founders should probably work on and perfect, right? Just in general.
if you don't like selling, I'll probably say it's going to be hard for you to start a business, because one way or another, you'll always end up selling something, whether it's yourself, whether it's your business, whether it's your product.
Very true. Very true. Gotta know how to sell. That's key.
You gotta know how to sell. And it's not like always pushing the price tag, but sometimes just talking about yourself, being comfortable doing that.
Yeah. Building relationships, making yourself likable, all that kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah. Just like that. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's about our time for today.
Cool.
So I want to thank you, obviously, for coming on today. Really appreciate it. I see you got the Mardi Gras beads on. So are you planning on going to Mardi Gras tomorrow?
Supposed to be like 17 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw that.
I might make a quick fly in, fly out, because I'm a little bit maybe a little bit removed from that right now.
Yeah.
But St. Louis is known to be one of the largest Mardi Gras celebrations in the country.
It is, yeah, crazy
I'm always
party.
gonna
so
support
I saw it was going to be like freezing the whole day, maybe some sleet or rain. I'm like, maybe not this year.
Right,
we'll see.
It's still a great time to go see, but I'm not going to stay there too long, probably.
All right. Well, either way, you have a good weekend.
You too.
Just to wrap things up, I do want to thank T-Rex for hosting us. The EQ Media Lab provides all the equipment. Obviously we moved to the 5th floor today, but everything we're recording on, all the sound equipment is from EQ, so we really want to thank them. And then I also like to thank my business partner, Vanessa Lobo, who produces our show and kind of handles everything behind the scenes. So thank you to her. And that's all we have for you. So again, if you would like to join us at Bourbon Friday, please hit us up on the Connect Marketing page or on EQSTL, and we can put you on the guest list. You do have to be on the guest list to join if you're from outside of T-Rex. And we'll be back on again next week at 4:30, and we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us.